Welcome to Create Above and Beyond, a mod pack filled with adventure and ingenuity. In this series, I will show you how to progress this mod pack and do my best to explain everything along the way.
Fuck, 1 second. I gotta make sure I keep this right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what I was doing in the beginning. We kind of just spent most of the time just gathering resources and messing around. I mean, every 5 minutes I was being attacked. This has nothing to do with Create. This is just us messing around. I mean, oh my goodness. It's just, yeah, roll the clip.
Pick up!
Oh, jeez. What did you do? You know, I'm really trying to... Where are they all coming from? There's 100% a spawner. Oh, Ryan, there's more. Ryan, there's so many more.
I'll help you, John.
I only have an axe, so I can only kill one at a time.
Yeah.
There's 100% a spawner down here.
Ah, okay, I'm gonna die. You should grab your stuff.
Is there no other way around this? Is it? Oh, is that what I think it is? Oh, we do need to stop here.
Wait, is this like a meteor?
It's not normally
John,
under.
You
Oh,
left me with the wedge.
Oh, sorry. I'm
Oh
coming
my
back.
God.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back. All right,
There's
it's
a
dead.
zombie.
Okay,
Is
you
there any
good?
way we can make like sleeping bags? Anyway, is
watch
this
out for the
like
creeper. Okay.
Anyway,
do
what
you
is
need
this?
food?
Wait, is this like a geode?
All right, and this is Skystone. Skystone is actually pretty important. It's not something that you'll need early game. Okay, maybe a little early, but it's something important and it's something useful to collect. You don't need much of it, just a little bit. It's kind of hard to explain early on just because you're not really going to deal with it till later. You won't know you need it until the quests tell you you need it. So it's kind of weird. Either way, I'll explain that when we get there, but just know you need it and it's not a bad idea to collect it early. Oh!
Also, please don't die.
How far away am I? Holy.
I'll watch your stuff, maybe make a chest to temporarily hold it.
Ryan, I'm all the way in the beginning.
Well, of course you are.
I cannot begin to explain I mean, the pain that I experienced from those blocks. They're so, you don't even see them. You don't even see them. And I cannot even count the amount of times that I've walked on those and burned alive. I can't, I don't know. Why am I playing this mod? Why am I doing this to myself? Why? What are you? Kind of spooky.
Wait, I'll look in a second. I found another ruin.
How do I get in there?
Was that a sneeze? What was that?
That was a sneeze. And as you can see, there are actual dungeons in this mod. I mean, that is just so cool. I didn't expect to find anything like that. Honestly, my first impressions of this mod, I thought it was just gonna be one of those like redstone based mods, something like that, some type of engineering mod. I had no idea there was gonna be so much exploration involved. I mean, personally, I just like to tunnel up and dig, but here I am exploring things. I have to say, it was actually really worth it because there's so many cool things that were just added into this mod.
I don't want to break it. It looks cool.
Okay, I found the part of the biome that's right next to a bunch of sea pickles.
Is that our spot?
This is our spot. I don't see any clay though, that's the problem. No clay or gravel. There's 7 in there. And we're gonna start getting some steel. And while that's happening, we need more wood. So let's go get more wood. So I'm gonna make a steel chest plate. And boom, look at that. Suddenly, I actually have armor. Isn't that crazy, right? We also need obsidian armor, because obsidian armor is good. So we're gonna get steel chest plate, steel leggings, obsidian helmet, and boots. It's a good set of armor for now. It's temporary, it's not great, but it's strong and it'll last. Armor honestly was the big thing, and before I can even start the create mod pack, before I can get anywhere in this mod, I needed armor. I was dying too often. But once I got that armor, I decided to clear a patch and actually get started. I mean, there's a lot that needs to be done, and I need space. I need a lot of space to do it. It's not great. It's not amazing, but it's a space, right? So I kind of like the earthy vibe of mushrooms everywhere and everything. I kind of like the vibe. It's super nice, super friendly. But we do need trees. So what I'm going to do is starting over here because I don't have the I need to repair my axe. I need cobblestone. Now that that's done, we're gonna plant trees all around just so that we have something going. Okay, there we go. Then occultism right there. I have no idea what this does. But let's grow them, right? I mean, why be afraid? Why be afraid when we can just grow a bunch of them? And rightfully so. Occultism is a scary mod. Anything dealing with witchcraft, anything like that, I'm always nervous to do it. I mean, you never know what is going to happen. You never really know. I've had many times where I've used mods and, you know, you accidentally summon some kind of creature that comes after you. You curse yourself. I don't know. Things happen. I didn't want to take a chance. But at the same time, I also kind of wanted to see what the mod did. So, yeah, they're there now. Now, yeah, we have plants. We have demon plants now. I don't know what else to make of it. I'm gonna start digging here. We're gonna put torches on either end. Dolomite, that's not horrible. Dolomite does look nice occasionally. Alright, there. Oh, crap. Okay, there we go. Repair you. Nice, repaired.
Do you have any?
Okay, so we're gonna need sand. Not a crazy amount of sand. We're gonna need sand and clay and gravel because we have to make grout. Super simple. Smelt it, let it sit. That's grout. You let it do its thing. It takes a long time. We're gonna need quite a bit of it, to be fair. And while that's going, we're also gonna need a mill, which requires a cogwheel, andesite alloy, some type of stone, and wood. Now this is where I start to get a little repetitive. I decided to go ahead and also make a tutorial for this. I don't know. It's two different videos. I don't know. It's me and my friend messing around trying to make this mod as fun as possible. And then me by myself trying to explain this to the average person. I don't even think this is a tutorial at this point. I don't know what this is. It's just a mess of random stuff. But I mean, if you made it this far, then here you go, I guess. Here's how you do the thing. This is how you start create. Yeah, yeah. Man, I suck at this. There's a task called preparations, and in preparations, there is a list of components that you will need to get started with create. First on the list is the millstone. The millstone is a wonderful item that can be used to grind up various materials in order to get other materials outputted. For example, if you throw in wheat, you will get flour. And this item comes in handy very, very early in the game. One problem with create is that if you have a pickaxe and you go to mine an ore, upon mining that ore, you will get something called crushed variant of that ore. You take a basic furnace and put that crushed ore in there. Upon smelting, it'll only give you nuggets of that item. This is really unfortunate because in create, you need a vast amount of resources. To counter this, the following item, the seared smelter from Tinker's Construct, comes into use. To make the millstone, all you will need is wood of any type, a cogwheel, which can be made by grabbing andesite alloy and surrounding it by buttons. To make andesite alloy, you'll need two things: andesite or andesite cobblestone, and algal bricks. Now, algal bricks are a combination of algal blend and kelp and clay bottles. All you need to do now is combine that with a stone at the bottom, not cobbled variant, a stone, whether polished or not, has to be a stone, so not a form of cobblestone, not like cobbled andesite or anything like that. Has to be stone. You combine that with andesite alloy, a cogwheel, and a wood of your choice. Once you have the millstone, that's when the create adventure finally begins. The funny thing is that now you have a start in create. You're ready. The problem is we still had to actually do this. The reason why I was showing the footage of me explaining is that there's not a lot of context to while we're trying to figure this out. We kind of just stuttered our way through this, and I thought it's fair to the viewers for them to actually have context. Now that you have that context, here's the footage of us trying to do that.
So to make an andesite alloy, you just need andesite and algal brick. To make algal brick, you need to do algal blend, and then with that, you just need clay ball and seagrass.
I'm doing the thing. I'm doing it.
Great, that did absolutely nothing.
I placed a torch as soon as it lit, and it destroyed itself. How am I so dumb? And they're all still young.
Okay, so I know how to make the andesite alloys now. I need an algal brick, which means I need to cook algal blend. Okay, I got this. I can memorize this. And then I need buttons, andesite alloy. I know how to make that already. Here, wait. I have something that can help. Summoning demon time.
No, it's not that bad. It just takes a bit in the beginning, and then once you have the process down.
Oh. Other stone. Alright, so let's begin by making some algal blend. It's just 2 kelp on top, and some of this on the bottom. It's really cool. Alright, now, you're gonna get some coal, and you're gonna chuck this algal blend into the furnace with some coal. And now, what's it gonna make, Pickle? Ooh, it's gonna make algal bricks. That was in a very... Oh, and while I'm doing this, I need to take some of this coal. We also are just going to need to cook up any sort of stone. I think in this case, I'm just going to do cobblestone to turn it into normal stone. Wait, I don't think that makes sense. I think we need andesite cobblestone. Why do they all look the same? I go in here and I do 2 algal brick and then 2 andesite. And that makes andesite alloy. And I craft that, And then watch this. First thing I do is I craft a cog. Now, if you look in the crafting station, I do an andesite alloy surrounded by 8 willow buttons, or just any wooden button. I do that, and then the final step. 1 second. I gotta make sure I do this right. All right, and then I do this.
Man.
Then I put the cogwheel, 2 andesite alloy, and then 1 wood on top, and I made a millstone.
All right, now how do you get this millstone to work?
Water power.
And once again, we're back to me explaining stuff. So here you go. Here's more explanation stuff because yeah, just watch it. It's helpful. I swear. I swear. What I recommend in the beginning is using something called a water wheel. Now, a water wheel is a simple item that requires any slab surrounded by a large cogwheel, which is made by taking andesite alloy, wood, and planks. The cogwheel is an interesting item that can be used as a very small and ineffective form of power. In the beginning, you don't have that many options, and I greatly encourage the use of cogwheels. All right, and to set this up, all you would need to do is place down a couple of blocks here, take your cogwheel, place it like this to put it whatever direction you want it to face. If you shift, it'll place in the opposite direction as such. So normal, shift click, opposite, and all the following will mimic it. So I'm going to put them in this way. I'm going to put 4 of them set up. And to get these working and spinning right, what you can do is put blocks behind them like this. And so the way this works is you want water running over the fins as such. And just like that, we are all set up with this wonderful machine. All you'll need are some shafts. Shafts are a wonderful tool that are used to extend any form of rotation from one gear to another. And so you can use it to manipulate and transfer that rotational power from one source to another, as shown. Now, to make shafts, all you need are 2 andesite alloy. Nothing too complicated, and they're very handy. But what I do recommend in the future is making something called a casing. A casing is something simple. It's an andesite casing in the beginning. It's quite cheap. It'll take any type of wood as long as it's in its log form. It can be stripped. It doesn't need to be stripped. That is the beginning form of casing, and it is quite useful. When you take a basic andesite casing and you click on the outside of a shaft, you'll notice it'll turn into a block. And so this is just used for decoration to hide open shafts. In the beginning, you're not going to have access to anything that will allow you to really speed up the system in a very compact way. And what I'm referring to is something called the rotational speed controller. Simply, it's an item that lets you control the exact speed coming out of an axis and adjusting it to the number you prefer within a specific realm. So in the meanwhile, what I like to do is take a big gear and attach a small gear underneath. And by doing this, you can attach another big cogwheel and another gear on the side. And you'll notice that this is starting to get faster and faster. And we can keep doing this until we get our desired speed. Now, one thing you do need to notice is that the connection from small to small is 1 block, and there's no way to actually pair these from side to side in any way, since it's that 1 block connection. However, you have the large gears, which can connect to one another because they're technically 2 blocks, but centered on 1 middle block. And so you'll see that they can actually connect via this method. And that's a nice little method to use them for. Unfortunately, with these, they can only connect to the small ones from a corner. So whichever block here that you place it on, you see how these wouldn't connect? This can now connect to that. And so this can be used to change the rotation angle as well of the device. So if I put power here, this side would rotate. Another thing you want to note is never attach things that are going at 2 different speeds to each other. Attaching a small and another one right here will break it. Now what you could do is take a large gear and run that onto the corner of a millstone as such. An alternative is to do it directly with small gears, but that'll require you to once again create a connection, and once you have that connection, to attach the millstone. There is actually an item called a gearbox, and the gearbox allows you to change the direction of the shaft and of the spinning rotation. The first basic gearbox requires an andesite casing, as I've explained before, and you surround that with cogwheels. And so the functionality of a gearbox is quite important and simple to use in the beginning of Create. If you take a connection here from the large cogwheel, you'll notice that this will actually invert the rotation, so that while one is spinning that way, the other is spinning the other way. And you can also see that if I connect this here, they are now running together. And if I were to run one here, they are also still running together. So no matter where you put these, they will all run together. Now you might be asking, why would you need a gearbox when it's easy to use the wheel? Well, in some cases, it's just easier to use a gearbox just because you're working with tight spaces and you want something that can output multiple sides and can also change the direction early game. On the other side, there's also the vertical gearbox, which is made by simply taking your gearbox and placing it in the crafting to get a vertical. And you can do the same thing with the vertical to get the normal gearbox, and it once again works the same way as the other mechanism, but with one going to the top instead of all the sides. Now, once you have completed your first step and built the mill and you have your power system set up, you are now able to grind down material. There is one problem though. The millstone requires a couple more things before it becomes truly useful. The seared melter is an item that allows you to melt material. What I like to do is take your simple contraption here, plug in a hopper up top, just to get some items flowing into it. And then I like to take the seared heater and the seared melter. And I like to plug them into the bottom. Now personally, I like to use the seared fuel tank, but you can use the seared heater. Now how does all this work? Well, you would have to get into Tinker's Construct. In the beginning of Tinker's Construct, first things first, you need a seared melter. This is basic Tinker's Construct. This is nothing super complex or advanced. It's just the beginning, scratching the surface of what this mod can do. And the main selling point of Tinker's is that it gives you more resources. Smelting something in Tinker's will give you more of an output than if you smelted something using a furnace. And that's the main appeal. So if you take Tinker's Construct, take seared bricks, which require grout to be smelted. And to get grout, that's just a combination of a type of sand, clay, and gravel. Once you have that grout, then you can make the seared melter. The seared melter takes those seared bricks and a seared ingot gauge or fuel gauge. Either or will work. And for the fuel gauge, it just takes glass in this pattern here with a brick. If you want the ingot gauge instead, which once again, it can be crafted with, it's once again the same amount of materials, but a different pattern. Once you have the seared melter, now you need the fuel underneath it, which can either be a fuel tank or a heater. The heater runs on coal or charcoal, and that might be easier in the beginning of the game. So if you take a heater, it's the same recipe as a furnace with seared bricks. Or you can use something called the fuel tank. And the fuel tank is the same thing but with glass. And the difference is the fuel tank will actually take lava, and that fuel will last a lot longer. And if I were to break that and put a heater underneath, you'll notice that this contraption now notices that it needs coal to run. And so now I can put coal in there for that contraption to run. Now, say you have all this set up, you've decided on coal for your fuel in the meanwhile, you have all this set up, plugged into each other. How do you get this automated? Well, first we need to set up the seared casting table. And the seared casting table is just the opposite of a cauldron. So it's the same recipe as leggings, right? And you just take seared bricks, boom, casting table. Now, the way the seared casting table works is you can use sand templates to actually make casts. And to make a sand cast template, all you would need is sand, whether it's red or normal sand. You just put that and you'll get 4 templates. I don't encourage sand templates since they are temporary, but they do work. And the way you get it done is you put a sand template there and you grab the casting material that you want it to pour out into. So in this case, I would take an iron ingot, put that in there. You'll notice this will drop back down here. And boom, we have a temporary cast. And if we were to pour out molten iron from this, which I will actually grab 3 since 3 are needed to make an ingot. We melt all of this down, pour it out. You'll notice that this will make an ingot, but it will use the template. Also, the seared faucet is just a way to transfer liquid from the melter onto the casting table. It's nothing special. It just requires 3 seared bricks and a clay pot pattern. So what I like to do is I like to take crushed gold, 1 crushed gold, run that in the top, have that run through the machine. Now notice that this might be a trap chest, so it's not actually going to automatically process. This is not a trap chest. And so once we have that gold here, you'll notice that it's completely prepared and ready. I like to take an already made ingot from your normal furnace method and pour the gold on top. This will actually consume the ingot, so that ingot doesn't go into here. And now we have a permanent cast. And what's nice about that? Well, if you take your crushed iron ore here, throw that in and let it get grinded up, you'll notice it'll immediately start smelting. And you can actually just start pouring it right into the cast. Now you'll also have to click each time on the faucet. And a way to counter this is actually to get a lever. You take a lever and do not connect it to the hoppers, since hoppers are activated by redstone. Once you put the lever on the side here, and notice it's not directly connected to any hoppers, you just have it flick down, and this will automatically dispense and keep filtering into your chest. And this simplifies the whole process, and this isn't limited to any one ore. So you can take any of these crushed materials. You can take crushed zinc, for example. Throw it in the top and have it run through. I know that was a lot of information for one sitting. I know there's a lot to create this mod pack. There's so much, but hopefully that gives you an idea of how to start. And once again, this is us trying to do it. Now, what I want you to do is make something called a seared melter.
I got it. What the heck is this? Okay, I could do this. Where's the sand?
Or you can use already like smelted glass. That's also fine. There's glass in this chest. Yep, there you go. There you go.
The seared fuel gauge in the middle. And then I do this
Okay.
to make a seared melter.
Good. Now I need you to make a seared heater.
Fuck. I didn't study that hard. Okay. I think I can do this.
Boom. Put the table underneath it. All right. This is your basic tinker setup. In the bottom is where you put the fuel. The top is where you put the ore or whatever you're melting. And you click the spout to drain it onto the pan. You are going to kill me. Holy shit.
Ow.
You can also speed it up by putting one in the corner, like a
Well,
small one.
I know how gear conversion works. I'm just trying to understand. I see the issue.
And the reason why we do this is I'm going to put fuel in
To
the
make a
bottom.
cast.
Yes, exactly. And then we're going to pour it using the spout once it melts onto that gold ingot.
This.
And there you go. Now we can throw the iron in there, just like this. And if we put a lever over here, it would auto pour. And then you put a hopper under here into a chest, and so you just have to put stuff at the top, the bottom, and make sure there's fuel in this. And it would just automate the whole process.
I already have 44 iron. What a pointless thing to do.
We'll need this for copper, zinc, and lead, and all the other ores in the game.
Okay, by the way, can you move your demon shit somewhere else?
Yes, I will have to figure this out later anyway, and it's probably going to get really complicated, so I'll just put this all away. Okay, there we go. So now it's just basic hoppers just running into everything. Wait, so we got to test it now. Coal, iron. Okay, so we put fuel here. We put iron up here. Okay, does it work?
You made this
Yay!
really easy to look at.
It works! I don't know what happened. I didn't think this recording would be so long. I've been recording for hours. Hours! This is insane. This is actually insane. I want to help you guys. I want to help. I'm trying to help. All right, just give me a moment here. I'm trying to work through all this. I'm trying to. I've been editing for days. I've gone through so much footage, and it's already 30 minutes long. How is it 30 minutes long? All right. Either way, there's more to this. There's a lot more to this. Now we're gonna get into the actual contraptions that you need. So far, all we've really covered is basic create power generation. Now we need to get into the machines that use that power. And yes, the millstone is a machine that uses that power, but that's to help you get more resources. These machines have different uses, which also help you get more resources. I don't know. You'll see. Now we have to move on the actual fundamental machines. First, you have the mechanical press, which all rely on the andesite machine, which is simple enough. It just takes kinetic mechanisms and andesite casing. That kinetic mechanism is a combination of a type of wood. It does not need to be stripped. It has to be a log, a cogwheel, andesite alloy, and a saw. Now keep in mind the saw does have durability, and the stronger material you use for it will lengthen that durability. This means the saw can also be enchanted to make it unbreakable. So in the beginning, you can take an andesite machine in a smithing table, combine it with a block of iron, and boom, you have a mechanical press. The mechanical press uses a high amount of stress, so I do recommend caution when getting this set up. And boom, just like that, there's a mechanical press now powered by this. And you're going to need something called a depot or a basin. Both of these can be used for mechanical presses, though I strongly urge using the depot in the beginning. And the depot is used for particular recipes. It depends on the recipe, so just keep that in mind. But a depot is simple, and it can be used to hold items. And so there are some recipes that just require to be smashed into the depot, and some that require a basin to hold liquids. Just pay attention to what the recipe specifically requires. But in the case of taking gold and turning it into gold sheets, it does require a basin. Now, one thing to note is regardless of how many ingots you have in your hand, it'll take all of them at once. So be careful. You can drop them one at a time. I believe it only puts one though. Yep, there you go. So it only grabs one, but you can drop one to get it done. So just be careful. It's easy to mess up with that, so just drop one. Now it doesn't do all of them at the same time, but it will collect and store them. So in this case, I'll take this. Now you notice one thing. The machine isn't working anymore, nothing is running. This is because it is overstressed and it's past its capacity that it can run on. To fix this, get rid of the machine that's overstressing it, or increase the maximum capacity by adding more power. And we'll use it for the one, so I'll drop one up top, and boom, we have a gold sheet. And this is repeatable for a lot of things. That's how you make sheets, iron, gold, whichever. There's also an item called a mixer, and the mixer is actually interesting. Requires a whisk as well as an andesite machine. And so that whisk just takes andesite alloy and iron sheets. And the whisk itself is actually different than that of the mechanical press. You see, instead, it actually has a little mechanical gear right there. So to use the whisk, you're going to need to back out. You need to go to whatever structure you're using, and you're going to need to put gears over next to it as such. And so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one there. And you'll see just like that, the system is overstressed. So I'm going to fix this really quick. You will notice that there's a little icon right here. And this is actually a recipe filter. And this can be used when you add conveyor belts to this to determine a specific recipe output. You don't need to set it up. I currently don't. It's because I think it's a little buggy and finicky. Now that you have most of the preparations done, you just need a mechanical saw and an encased fan. The mechanical saw just requires a saw blade, which is as shown, with iron nuggets, iron sheets, and a lead ingot, as shown, and that'll make a saw, combined with an andesite machine. Now the saw is quite useful because you can use it to automate production of trees or whatever, and you can also use it to cut down wood and strip it into whatever material you're trying to make out of it, such as taking a log and eventually getting it all the way down to slabs, which you will need in the future. The encased fan is a wonderful item that can be used to push objects away, as a fan would. It can also be used in combination with lava or water to wash, smelt, or with fire to smoke things. But the last hidden ability of the fan, which is my favorite, is when putting it over a heat source, it'll actually generate power on its own. So instead of needing a line of windmills or a bunch of water wheels, you can use an encased fan. Personally, it's my preference for power. I think it's cheap and easy, and in the end is very compact. And just like that, you have everything you need to know about the basic machines in this. And these can be utilized throughout the entire series and have multiple purposes. And of course, you'll also see us trying to figure it out. So you put it on the depot.
How much of that did I just put on there?
It only does one
Oh,
at a
not
time.
lot.
Okay, now we put the fan above that.
I don't have the fan.
Okay, we can get the fan, that's fine. I'll go get the fan. You have the wrench on you though, right?
Yes.
Okay, good, because that'll make life easier. I think. Maybe. Watch us accidentally burn the fan in the lava. Maybe it's a good idea to remove the lava first so we don't do that. Now thinking about it.
Yeah, you have terrible ideas.
Let me remember here. So if I place it, yeah. But if I do it like this, it places upside down. So you gotta shift place it. Okay. There you go, got it right. So my thought here, and this is my test, right? We do this, and if I do that and power it,
Here, wait, I'll be right back.
it works. Oh yeah, if you shift, it'll place the other way. You just want to hold it like normal. So shift places away. There you go. Now don't
cut me.
Yeah.
Out. Yay. Goodbye, Pickle. It's been great knowing you.
And yeah, that's a big radius. Now we just need I guess a deployer and a chest. So what we could do is put can you super glue this block and this block? Okay, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. And now can you super glue this block, I think? Okay, and I'm gonna have to get down, do this. Okay.
Oh, that's... Ow! Pickle.
Oh
It didn't
shit,
work.
hold on. Okay, where we go?
Collected the saplings though.
Oh, it's because it put wood in there. Put that back. All right, let's click it. Excuse me, what the fuck? What? Why are
Does it
you
need
not?
to be down like lower?
Is it too high? Wait, or is it on? Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, so we're gonna need to raise it one. Now
We did it.
there
Now we
is a way
can.
to offload all the items too that you want to offload. First, we gotta sleep though. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute because obviously that's gonna fill. All
One
right.
second. It'll be faster once it gets through like one cycle.
Well, yeah, the hopper will work for now. It's like it takes a minute when it like deposits because it hoppers deposit one item at a time. So it'll wait and it'll take time, but it's also a small circle, so I think it works out for now. Like, I mean, it's a supply. Um, and it's filling up really quick. Holy shit. Okay. Um, Rubber automation. That would be something we'd want to do soon, but we can automate kelp, which is something we do need to do, and we can automate bedrock collect or bedrock andesite. All right, I know that wasn't the best explanation of all time, so here's a more in-depth explanation of exactly what you need to do to get a basic tree harvester setup. And we want to set up an auto farm for trees. Well, what we could do is take a fan, dig a couple blocks down, shift when placing the encased fan so that it points up like this. Otherwise, if you place it, it'll face towards you. So shift to place it away. And that's just a general rule with Create. Shift to put it away from you. Then you want something called a mechanical bearing. Now, a mechanical bearing is a wonderful item that allows you to actually rotate things. But be careful how you use this, but it does allow you to rotate. And to make a mechanical bearing is not the worst thing in the world. All you need is andesite alloy, more andesite casing, a shaft, and a turntable, which requires slab and a shaft. Once you have this set up, then all you want to do is take your mechanical bearing here, have that plugged in, and you actually need to add power to this. Now, I believe you can use anything you want as long as you have super glue. And there's a lot of things you can do with super glue, so if I get this set up, you'll see that this will now rotate. And if I want to, I can take super glue here and attach it. And the neat thing about super glue is you can attach a bunch of objects to it. And you'll see them all rotate together. Now there's a new item called a radial chassis. And the radial chassis is cool because it allows you to slime it, and when you add super glue to it, it'll connect things in a row to it. The problem with that is that without a wrench to adjust it, that'll select everything it's connected to and could potentially break things. So I would be careful when using a radial chassis. Personally, I like to shift click so that I can add my own little small glob. Because you'll see here, if I get rid of all this and I grab a radial chassis, as such, and also crafting recipe here, wood, it has to be logs, it can be stripped, and there we go with andesite alloy. If you take this and attach this, that's potentially dangerous. And you can shift click to remove it. Oh yes, and also super glue. In order to make super glue, you'll just need an iron sheet, a nugget, and a form of slime or whichever type of ball you want to use. You can use coagulated blood. That is an option. I don't encourage it because it does require you to kill something in a Tinker's Construct setup. And that does get complicated because you do need sealed mechanisms, which is a bonus part of the beginning chapter, and that's a whole thing on its own. It's kind of a pain. I think the easiest thing is to get slime balls, or if you can't get slime balls, to make them. And to make them, it's actually quite easy. Just take lime dye and dough. And to make dough, that just takes wheat flour and a water bucket And to get the wheat flour, you just need to grind down wheat. So not that bad. Then I get this all set up here. And then I'll actually take those mechanical saws that we had set up in the beginning. So I'll grab a mechanical saw. And we're going to slime all of this. And notice all of these are now connected. Another thing you want to do is you want to add a chest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift click all this. Just so we have this set up. I'm going to go up one more block. And then over here, I'm going to grab something called a chest, which you should know how to make a chest. Take that, put that there. This now gives this contraption storage. Now, a cool little tidbit that you can do with this contraption here, you make something called a deployer, which uses a golden hand, which takes gold sheets and andesite alloy, as long with that andesite machine. And the deployers are quite useful because they automate certain processes for recipes, and you'll need them in the future, especially when it gets more complex. And they're also useful for automating certain things. So if I make a deployer and connect them like this, the cool thing is with a machine, these are auto set up to work. And I can actually grab a bunch of saplings here and go to these deployers and set them to filter oak only. And what does this now mean? Well, if I were to turn this machine on, you'll see that it's running backwards. This is a problem that might happen, so be wary of this. You can set this up backwards. I did. There is a way to reverse this. And what you can do, let's see how I have this set up here. What you can do is grab a vertical gearbox, as the vertical gearbox does change the orientation. So displace everything one block down, which is what I'm gonna do. Keep that mechanical bearing there and get that vertical gearbox. And then once you have this all set up, that should change the rotation. Boom, done. And now that it's changed the rotation, you'll see all these guys getting to work, and this will actually cut down the tree. The one problem is, if I were to stop this, you'll notice that it's collecting autumn saplings. It's got a bunch of wood here, but it's not actually placing anything. The reason being, there's actually no oak tree set up. So what I would do is in the opposite side here, making sure it's within the realm that it can mine, grab some bone meal, and grow a sapling. Make sure its radius is complete for maximum utilage, and turn the machine back on. And you'll see here, it'll not only break this oak tree, it'll start placing the saplings. And so we can grab more bone meal and keep letting this thing do its thing. And over time, it'll collect in that chest. And just keep growing. And to automate that, you actually need something called, what is it called? Andesite machine. And we're going to need a stone cutter. So take an andesite machine and a stone cutter. And you're going to need something called a portable storage interface. And this will allow you to transfer resources. The andesite funnel itself is quite useful. And once again, it just requires, let me see here. It just requires an andesite machine and a stone cutter. Now there's other ways to do this. You can use a chute if you'd like, which I personally prefer. I think chutes are pretty neat. I'm pretty sure you can still open it with a chute connected. And I believe that a chute will connect everything. But let me test it by growing this tree. All right, and now that this is all set up here, this should drop right into the machine. And there you go. Just by using chutes, it'll dispense right into the thing. And chutes are also not that bad to make. It just requires andesite alloy and iron sheets. And there you go. That's how you make a machine. That's how you make a basic automatic farm. Of course, there's our footage of us going through and messing this up, and I'll show that to you as well. But Create is quite interesting. And that's Create Above and Beyond, at least the beginning of the first chapter. I hope you guys appreciated this long and drawn out episode. I know it's a lot of information, but I hope this got the point across that there's so much you can do with this mod. There's so much fun. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I wish you all the best, and maybe you'll see the next episode. Anyway, bye.